Hi, and welcome to the Silicon Insider podcast. Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. Thank you. Hello.
I want to get to the good news of the week, too, or the one you're covering right now at the end of this conversation, get everything else out of the way. So, one thing we saw is that the Congress voted unanimously not to, they banned themselves from the prediction markets. So, like Kalshi and Poly Market. And apparently that it began with that Special Forces Master Sergeant who bet on the Venezuela raid and its results, and apparently made a lot of money. And that was, as you know, that was a bit of a scandal. Well, Congress decided they'd actually be in front of this whole thing and ban themselves from using any of those prediction sites. On the other hand, they still haven't banned themselves from insider trading, I notice. This one was easy. But insider trading, no, that's sacrosanct. The Pelosi rule still holds, and it probably will hold forever. That Congress doesn't want to give that one up. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, they need to stop, or someone just needs to look into this and find out if it is indeed insider trading. But yeah, the prediction markets are dangerous. I mean, it's gambling, and there is insider information to be had. And not only is it good to ban your own body from doing it, but I think Polymarket and Kalshi are smart to try at least to crack down on people that are using insider information because it reflects badly on them if that's discovered.
Yeah, apparently the Master Sergeant is in real trouble because there seems to be an indication he was using secrets to
Well,
make
that's
his
part of the
bets.
problem is you have insider information. And how do you get that insider information? You are actually part of what's going on. And it's almost like betting on your own baseball games and throwing it, what Shoeless Joe Jackson was accused of. Back in the day, and that's what's dangerous, but on a scale that's much more dangerous than sports.
Well, nowadays you can be on that in that C-130 about to land in uh, in Venezuela and place your bet right then. So I mean, the speed of this stuff actually works against people trying it, but I bet they're going to try it still. Okay, rumor has it that Apple's given up on Vision Pro, the goggles. They tried it for years. They even threw in the M5 chip and a more comfortable band on it, but people just are resisting wearing those glasses. And I can see why, because it's an invasion of privacy in a weird way. And also, you can't be sure what a person knows and what they're just calling up on Wikipedia or AI at that moment. It just seems to not fit with modern life.
Right. I mean, people want, to an extent, those Ray-Bans that we see from Meta. And even that has some people concerned about privacy, especially since you don't know that they might be filming you. But the Vision Pro is just a big, bulky, extremely expensive, extremely fascinating and cool product. But are people willing to spend that much money to surf alone, just like they could on a laptop or other Apple device? And it seems, I'm guessing the cost is the prohibitive thing there. So maybe as the form factor gets smaller and more like Ray-Bans, people might jump on. But I just don't know that we as a species are ready or willing to consume that kind of content with something on our heads. I mean, the Oculus stuff, you don't see all that many of those either.
Yeah, I think Meta was really smart to just go out and cut a deal with Ray-Ban. It's basically, you have to look really closely to see that it's actually a smart glasses. But you can wear Wayfarers or, the Pilot ones. I mean, you can actually be cool and not look dumb and weird. So, and I think that's what happened, years ago with digital watches. all the semiconductor companies thought that's a way to make a lot of money. And they didn't realize that they didn't understand, and maybe they didn't do enough research to understand that, yeah, it was great to have the technology, but people bought watches as jewelry first. And then if it kept good time, that was gravy. And I think that's what happened with all these glasses. But I think maybe Meta has pulled it off. We'll see.
They might. I mean, you bring up Apple, and part of the reason that people aren't buying big glasses is because they're still buying Apple products, the watch, the phone, the Mac, the services. Apple just had, you and I are speaking now, it's Thursday night. Apple just had another blowout earning report, extremely strong numbers, and extremely strong forecast. Stock moved way higher after hours. This is just, a company that's killing it despite one product that is not killing it.
Yeah, and this gets back to what we talked about last week, that Apple made a smooth transition in the chief executive's office, almost without a hitch. And Apple has not played the AI game and be out there right now, like all these other companies, investing hundreds of millions of dollars on these server centers and all of that. Apple stayed above the fray, and they're getting rewarded for it because all the other companies, Alphabet did pretty good, but Microsoft, Meta, even though they beat their numbers, and Alphabet didn't beat its numbers, but its stock went up. But the ones that actually exceeded their numbers lost value on the market yesterday. So, I mean, it's the market's saying something bigger, which is maybe we're not hanging out. It's not a limited hangout anymore. We're getting in pretty deep on this capital investment, betting on AI. And the companies that are staying above it in some way, like Apple, they're not getting punished because they don't have the added risk.
Right. I mean, Meta, Microsoft, certainly OpenAI, Anthropic, I mean, goodness, Tesla, these guys are all in. They're spending, Amazon, their spending is gigantic in the hundreds of billions of dollars. And Apple is just keeping its CapEx low and sort of waiting. And in the meantime, selling a ton of the delivery systems that all these AI companies want to be on. And that seems to be the smart way to play what is still an area, AI, that hasn't shaken itself out yet. We don't really know who the winners are yet.
Yeah, it's like the way you make money off of AI right now is to be at one of the two antipodes of the industry. You're selling platforms, you're selling computers and watches and phones, or you're making the AI chips. And everybody in the middle is just guessing on where this goes. And, it's going to be real interesting because this is now so embedded into the Dow and the NASDAQ, and it's increasingly into our economy, that if this is a bubble, it's going to be a devastating bubble if it breaks.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, we don't own any, so we'll be in good shape on the food. We'll get the front places in the food line when it happens. Okay, let's get down to the big story of the week, which is the dispute between. Well, it's basically a personal dispute between Elon Musk and Sam Altman, along with OpenAI's president Greg Brockman, and you've been covering it. You were out there today covering it. Give me a feel for it. I mean, my sense is that Elon is saying he invested money in a charity. OpenAI was going to be a nonprofit, and then they pulled the old switcheroo on him, and he's explaining now why, he still stayed involved in various ways and investments, but he didn't do it at the time because he thought he owned a piece of a charity and that's what he wanted to do. And then the lawyer for Altman and Brockman basically said, yeah, but you did all these other things subsequent to that put in question your purity on this nonprofit thing. And Elon said, well, I was busy doing SpaceX and, Tesla. So I didn't take the time to look, and I didn't, etc. And, I don't know who looks worse on this one, but, I do note that OpenAI stunned everybody by actually going for profit after making claims that they were, a nonprofit institution for the benefit of mankind. And Elon seems like it's personal, and he wants to compete. He wants to own OpenAI, and this is just a setup for that kind of move.
I mean, what he's saying in court is that he left and pulled out his investment because OpenAI went for profit, which really wasn't surprising to a lot of us. It was making money, not profitable, but it was making money. ChatGPT was red hot. It was hiring some of the best engineers in the world. Sam Altman doesn't run charities. Sam Altman runs companiys. He ran, Y Combinator. I think we all thought this was going to be a profitable company. Musk, though, is claiming, but I wanted to help out a charity. So by pulling out his investment, he missed out on something higher than $100 billion. And that's what he's asking for, $134 billion from OpenAI, which has turned into a company worth something above $800 billion. Mm-hmm. And so Musk is saying, yes, it's personal. I funded you in the beginning, and I was expecting this, and you pulled the rug out from under me. OpenAI is essentially saying, no, you left and therefore pulled your investment and don't own the shares, and therefore you don't have this money anymore. And by the way, if you're so worried about nonprofits, why did you start an AI company that is 100% for profit? And so that's been the back and forth. We had jury selection Monday. Musk has been on the stand since Tuesday. Again, as you and I speak on Thursday night, he has wrapped it up, and we'll get some financial guides next. And then next week, we will hear from Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, and very likely Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, who, as you know, has a very big stake in OpenAI as well.
What was the tenor in the courtroom? Did Elon get rattled at all?
He did. It started pretty smoothly because he was being led by his own attorney for the first day. But by, Wednesday, he was on cross-examination from the OpenAI attorney, and that did get tense a lot, as this sort of thing does between egos and attorneys. And, Musk was throwing barbs and getting them back, and it did get pretty testy for a while. And
that must have been fun as a reporter.
Well, it was interesting. I mean, Sam Altman and Greg Brockman are sitting not 30 feet away in the courtroom, and Musk is saying, I don't trust those guys. I think they're going to fail. I don't trust this company. And this is as this company, OpenAI, is thinking about going public soon. It is worth north of $800 billion. And Musk is saying, I don't trust them. Meanwhile, Musk on his own is thinking of taking SpaceX public and is obviously at this point the richest man in the world. And so, you wonder what the jurors are thinking of all this as these billionaires are feuding in a small room that's crowded.
Was Musk confident, or was he pompous?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think it's going to move the stock value of OpenAI when it goes public?
No, I mean, this is a company that's still private. Still
but when it goes public, if it's soon.
I mean, it won't go public during this trial, so there's no worry about that. I wonder if Musk, who's trying to poke holes in people's confidence in OpenAI, but then again, he's a competitor now of OpenAI. At one point, the attorney said, is your AI as good as OpenAI? And Musk said, yeah, it is now. And again, he's saying this right, not far away from Brockman and Altman. And so there's a little bit of competitiveness. There's a sort of macho-ness to this that Musk brings. And obviously confidence. The guy is, of course, brimming with confidence.
Okay, I hear the judge told Elon to stick to answering the questions. I guess he went off on the future of AI and ending mankind and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There have been a number of times when the judge, who is clearly a take no prisoners kind of judge, was admonishing Musk, sometimes admonishing the OpenAI attorney, sometimes admonishing people in the crowd who might have been making too much noise or, holding their cell phones too high and, hey, wait, you can't record anything. So, she is really taking charge, and she has said she wants this thing to be done in a few weeks. And it's hard to know. They haven't laid out exactly when all of the witnesses will come forward, but it is expected that that we will get Sam Altman next week and likely Brockman and maybe even Satya Nadella as well.
Yeah, so Microsoft's involvement in this.
Sure. They own 25% or so of OpenAI, and they were some of the money in when OpenAI decided, let's sort of split the two and have the nonprofit side and the for-profit side. Microsoft was investing in the for-profit side and, became a very, very major stakeholder in OpenAI as it was growing so rapidly.
So do they have a seat at the table, or are they just not co-defendants? Are they legally involved in this case?
I mean, they are because they have so much of a stake. And I think...
Well, financially, yeah, but legally, are they complicit in any way?
It's hard to know. I mean, it's likely that Nadella gets called because he is a material witness to all of this stuff, to whether or not OpenAI should have stayed nonprofit or profit, to the Musk of it all. So he, I think, will be a key witness. I don't know of their potential liability. I mean, Musk is talking about breaking up OpenAI, and they shouldn't, Musk shouldn't be running, or Altman shouldn't be running the company. Microsoft is probably sitting back and saying, look, these guys are doing fine. They're worth $850 billion.
Yeah.
They're going to take themselves public. We are going to make a substantial fortune when they do. But it will be interesting to see what each side asks of Satya Nadella, particularly because he has been involved in this, obviously, but not running the company.
You think there's any potential bombshells that haven't gone off yet, like conversations or documents or anything else that might be introduced into the court that might change the whole thing?
I mean, I was waiting for that during Musk's testimony to see any text messages, perhaps between the two, or emails. And they brought out a lot of emails and text messages, but nothing of the bombshell variety. So I don't know. We may see that when Altman or Brockman take the stand. But that is one of the things I was listening for, was to see if there was something that the two had communicated about. But it sounds like at some point they went from really being close and having a similar mission to, I mean, at times this really felt, I mean, I've never sat in on divorce proceedings, but it felt like we were in divorce court, where it was almost a custody battle. And so the messages that they had sent each other were not incendiary, but they were almost too formal and just, Altman essentially saying, get off my back, and Musk saying, you blew it, you should have been a nonprofit, and these sort of chiding each other, but nothing that would make us just, oh my gosh, this is the end of something. It just didn't feel that strong.
How about the jurors?
I mean, it's a diverse jury, some tech background, some without tech background. Most say they have at least tried AI. But I mean, are they really their peers? I mean, these are two of the richest men in the world going at it. I can't imagine. And I'm from Oakland. I love Oakland, but Oakland is not known for billionaires that fly rockets into space. I don't know where you would have to go to find a jury of these guys' peers. But when it gets kind of technical, the language, I'm wondering, does this make an impression on the jury, or are they sort of letting it go over their heads?
Any body language that you could detect?
No, the courtroom is so crowded that even when I was in there, it's hard to see the jury. We were trying, how many women, how many men? It's hard to tell. Everybody's, packed in. And then even in the overflow, there are like 60 people that are all packed in. I mean, every seat has been taken every day so far with this trial. It'll be interesting to see if the interest carries into next week. But because we'll get Altman, I think it may.
Are you having fun? Does it bring back memories of a couple of years ago?
I've been asked that. Yeah, to an extent. obviously the circumstances are different here, but a high profile witness, at one point during a break, I walked down the hallway just to go outside and get a coffee. And walking the other way down the hallway, I saw 6 gigantic men. And I had a feeling those 6 men who were walking in tandem were bodyguards. And sure enough, I sort of leaned in and there was Elon Musk in the middle of the 6, just sort of, hey, how's it going? And so it's got this sort of, aura to it. And, each day he and Altman have to check in and take off their belts and remove their watches and stuff like that. And you've got just these big bodyguards that are following them everywhere they go.
Okay, finally, last question. When do these two companies, when does SpaceX and when does OpenAI, when are they scheduled to go public? Is that date set yet?
No, SpaceX has filed at least what do they call it? The confidential filing. So from what I understand, those wheels are in motion, but we don't know when. I don't think OpenAI has filed yet. So those wheels aren't yet in motion. And, these things take months. There's the road tour and everything.
Yeah, but so do trials sometimes.
Yeah, I have a feeling this trial will be over by the end of May. And it's interesting. One of the potential jurors in jury selection said, I'm got a vacation at the end of May, so maybe I shouldn't be on the jury. And the judge said, oh, you won't miss that vacation. Don't worry. Wow. And that was the most, the clearest case that she wants this thing done. You and I are speaking on April 30th at night. Yeah. So she wants this thing done within the next 3.5 weeks.
She is ruling it with an iron hand. Okay. Well, that's it for now this week, folks. You can see Scott, as always, like tonight and tomorrow night on NBC Bay Area. And you can also see him on X and Facebook Meta. And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.